Hi everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining us today. We've got a brand new story to share with you. So, let's begin. My name is Ethan. It was a weekend, and my wife, Cara, was out of town, at a family gathering, one I was technically supposed to attend as well. The truth, though, is simpler than any excuse. I was spent after a brutal week at work, and what I needed far more than small talk and group photos was a quiet day to decompress and catch up on the personal things that always seem to fall through the cracks. So I stayed home, aiming to reset my head and clear a few nagging tasks. By Saturday afternoon, I was stretched out on our bed with my laptop open, sorting through an embarrassing backlog of emails. In the middle of drafting a reply to one particularly fussy thread, I reached for a pen to jot a quick note and felt the tip scratch dead ink dried to nothing. I could have gotten up and walked the few steps to the desk, sure, but at that moment, the idea felt like it would cost more energy than I had left to spend. Instead, I did the lazy scan of the nearby zone. My nightstand was the obvious first stop. I slid the drawer, only to find a handful of ancient receipts and orphaned scraps. No working pen. I glanced at the drawer on Cara's side. She keeps hers tidy, the sort of neat where everything has a place. It wasn't a drawer I usually opened, wasn't mine to fuss with, but the dead pen nudged me past etiquette. I slid her drawer open and began a careful rummage through familiar, harmless bits and pieces. That's when I saw it. A box of condoms, tucked beneath a small stack of papers, positioned like it was meant to be out of sight, but still convenient. I froze in a silence that didn't come from the room. Cara and I hadn't used protection in 8 years of marriage. It wasn't a topic we tiptoed around or debated. It simply didn't apply to us. The box was partly open. One was missing. My mind immediately spun, connecting too many dots all at once. We hadn't been intimate for a while. There'd been a distance neither of us had named. Emotional first, then physical. The kind of slow drift couples pretend is just a rough stretch until it isn't. I wanted to deny what the box implied. I also knew it meant something I couldn't rationalize away. I sat there on the edge of the bed, staring at a cardboard truth I hadn't asked to find. The sensible part of me finally moved. I took out my phone, snapped a photo of the box exactly as it lay, and then put everything back with deliberate care papers stacked as they were. Box at the same angle. The drawer slid shut without a whisper. I was not going to tip her off. One lesson had already cost me. Years ago, sure, I'd seen signs of her reconnecting with an ex. I confronted hard and early and wrong. We barely survived the mess that made. I was not going to repeat that mistake. Not without proof. That night wasn't sleep, it was scenarios. I tried to second-guess myself, to imagine benign reasons, to ask whether a box can mean anything other than the obvious. The longer I thought, the more a single, unwelcome conclusion felt like the only explanation that fit the facts I had. I needed to find out. I needed to see, not wonder. The next morning, I drove to Walmart and bought a handful of small hidden cameras along with a GPS tracker. Back home, I moved with a steadiness I didn't entirely feel. I placed cameras in the places Cara frequents. I took my time, choosing angles that would show me what I needed without being obvious, and double-checked each placement until I was sure the devices would vanish into the background of our house. The plan for the tracker was simple. Wait for her to come back and get it onto her car without making noise. When Cara walked in that evening, it was the same choreography as any Sunday return bags down. A breath, the usual download of family drama and gossip. I didn't shift, didn't stiffen, didn't show anything. I listened like always and felt a flicker of doubt about what I had set in motion. She didn't sound like a person carrying a secret. She sounded like my wife. We ate dinner, made small talk, drifted into the quiet rituals couples slide into. No jagged edges, no tells. After she went to bed, I slipped outside and tucked the tracker into place beneath her car. Then came the waiting, the kind that wears you down because nothing happens for so long, you start to distrust your own eyes. For the next month, I checked the cameras and the tracker every day. The GPS told a story that matched her words. Work, the grocery store, a friend's house. The footage turned into an endless carousel of normal Kara reading, Kara cooking, Kara moving through rooms, doing the 1,000 small things that build a day. Nothing. Not a single late-night detour. Not an unexpected stop. Not even a sliver of something that would hold up under daylight as suspicious. Month 2 looked a lot like month 1. Same routes, same hours, same repeated scenes of domestic normalcy. I started to wonder whether I'd let exhaustion write a narrative for me. The photo of that nearly hidden box lived behind my eyelids, but the present tense kept showing me a calm surface and asking me to trust it. By the 3rd month, I checked less. Some nights I didn't open the feeds at all. Time smoothed the panic until it felt like a misplaced tool I no longer needed to hold. It was almost a return to normal, the kind that makes you hope you were wrong from the beginning. But by the 5th month, a feeling I can't name drew me back to the drawer. I opened it, moved the papers, and looked inside the box again. Another condom was gone. The quiet in my head disappeared. I went straight to the camera archive and began scrubbing through timeline after timeline, my heartbeat tracking the progress bar. Hours poured past in a smudge of activity that meant nothing until it meant everything. Broad daylight, our bedroom. A man I didn't recognize stepping inside with the ease of someone who'd been here before. Kara meeting him like they had an appointment. Neither of them could have misread. Nothing else needed translation. It was all right there. How he kissed her. How she responded as if she'd been waiting. The unhurried familiarity of people who didn't need to ask what comes next. On our bed, in the room where we used to be us, I watched long enough to know I wouldn't later convince myself I had misread the images or projected meaning where there wasn't any. Then I paused the clip and sat very still until I remembered what breathing's supposed to feel like. When she came home, I was sitting on the bed with my laptop open. "Come here," I said. "I want you to watch something." She paused in the doorway, eyes narrowing, picking up on a shift, even if she didn't yet know its source. She walked closer. I hit play. The moment her brain matched faces to reality, her expression changed. First confusion, then comprehension, then a panic that couldn't find a place to land. "This isn't what it looks like," she said. She said it again. Then again. Each repetition lost conviction by half. I let the video finish. I looked up and said, "No, Kara, it's exactly what it looks like. I'm done." She staggered a step back, like the words themselves reached out and moved her. Tears came fast. "Please, Ethan," she said, voice shaking. "It was a mistake, a one-time thing. Please, don't do this." I shook my head once. "No, it wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. 5 months ago, I found the condoms. I didn't accuse you. I set up cameras. I tracked your car." She fell quiet. The look in her eyes changed. The tears kept coming, but fear joined them now, thin and sharp at the edges. "I know what you've been doing," I said. "You have one option. Pack your things and leave. Or I send this video everywhere it needs to go." She broke again, sobbing harder, words stumbling over each other. Please, promises, that same one-time line she kept trying to sell. None of it mattered anymore. The decision was made, and it wasn't going to be made by the sound of her crying. I won't pretend there wasn't a part of me that wanted to take the easy path, accept an apology, bury the clip, and try to glue together the pieces in a way that would convince a passerby the vase had never fallen. But I've learned the hard way that lying to yourself leaves scars that take longer to fade than making the cut that sets you free. Kara packed slowly and quietly. No more arguing. No more explanations. When the door closed, the house didn't feel like mine yet, just a place holding the echo of a life that had ended an hour earlier. I called my lawyer the next morning. Divorce hadn't been a word I ever imagined lining up next to my name, but it came out of my mouth with a clarity I trusted. I wanted the process underway, not to punish, not to score points, but to move toward the calm that comes after choosing not to live in a lie. By week's end, the draft agreement was on my table. Kara had moved in with a friend by then, the kind of friend who tries to hold the middle, to keep things civil, to ask if there's a road back neither of us can see. There wasn't. The marriage was broken in the specific way that doesn't get better with time and politeness. When the friend reached out to me, I didn't rehearse anything. I asked one question. Did she tell you the truth? The answer landed without hesitation. Yes. She said you caught her cheating and told her to leave. I don't know if the sound I made was a laugh or something else. Ask her for the rest of the story, I said. It was never going to be my job to narrate what I hadn't chosen. The divorce finalized without theatrics. We split the joint account in a way the ledger would call fair, given everything, even if memory would always have its own accounting. The house stayed with me. She didn't contest it. Papers got signed. She took what was left to her and walked. And no, I didn't share the video. Not because she earned kindness, but because I wanted to live with myself the day after and the year after that. I let her take what dignity she could carry. I kept the roof and the quiet I'd been missing for longer than I'd admitted. Sitting in the new quiet, I realized two things at once. I was free. So was she. She could live however she wanted, without the pretense of a marriage she'd already stepped out of. It just cost us everything we'd built. The marriage was over. It hurt. It was also the right decision. And sometimes, doing what's right is how you stop a wound from deepening, even if it means you learn to live with a scar that tells the story plainly.